Hello, can we hear me? Hello, good morning. I hope I'm clear. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Yes. So we are welcome to the class today. So today is going to be our final class for this day. So we are going to complete the outstanding topic that we are treating, which is on custom and excise duty. So if we could recollect, so we did a question on that. So we did a question on the topic, which is on the custom and excise duty. So if I'm correct, so I need somebody to remind me because we treated the first question, which is question number 1. Yes. So we treated question number 1. So which was the question we did. Then to recap this topic, I told you that we have a custom and excise duty. Custom duty, that is the duty that you pay when you import item from outside Nigeria. While excise duty, those are the duties that are payable on certain goods and services that are considered to be dangerous and harmful and dangerous to the health of the citizen. So these duty are payable to the Nigeria Customs Service, which is the regulatory agency for the collection of this duty. So in the case of custom duty, I told us that to calculate the custom duty, you can be asked 2 questions. Is either the examiner asks you for import duties or the examiner asks you for custom duty. Where the examiner asks you for import duty, the examiner expects you to determine to arrive at to determine the cost or to determine the free on board, to also determine the cost of freight and also the insurance cost. Then after that, you now determine the landing cost. So after the landing cost, so we have what is called the import duty, which is called the import. Or the examiner can ask you to calculate custom duty. When you are asked for custom duty, you need to proceed further ahead. After the import duty, you now go to the next step, which is calculation of a surcharge, comprehensive import supervision scheme, ECOWAS, trade liberation scheme, then VAT, and the custom duty. So depending on what the examiner asks you, we give you the scenario on how to calculate the duty payable. So that is for custom. So as I said, we are able to look at the first question, which is asking us for what? For import duty. So in that scenario, we are going to stop only at step number 6. So, but the examiner may proceed further ahead by asking us for what? Custom duty, which is what we are going to look at today. So we are going to look at this question number 3, question 3. Question 3. So we have Mrs. Shekoni Eze is a businesswoman who sells and import fabric from other countries. She just ordered fabric from a merchant in the United States for $7,000. She had to pay other additional charges at the rate of $700 to have access to the fabric. The HS code, harmonized system code for fabric, is 5407. So therefore, its import duty is calculated at the rate of 10%. The cost of freight is $1,500. Note that insurance is provided by Standard Insurance at the rate of 0.5%. Exchange rate is $1 equals to 387. They require calculate the custom duty payable to Nigeria Customs Service. Unlike the first one, which asks us for what? Import duty. So this one now is asking for what? Custom duty. It is expected that you are expected to follow this step from step 1 to 11 to arrive at what? At the custom duty. So how do we now calculate this custom duty? So let me look for our, so to calculate the custom duty, I'm coming. I want to open our worksheet that we are going to use to, yeah. Yes. So we have the name of the taxpayer, Mrs. Kekoni Eze. Determination of custom duties payable to Nigeria Customs Service. To determine the custom duty, so we have certain steps that we're expected to follow. So let us go to the question back. According to the step, you are first required to determine what? Cost. Determine the cost. So which is the cost of buying that item. So we need to determine the cost. So before that, we have, so we need to determine the cost. We are told in the question, Mrs. Shekoni Eze is a businesswoman who sells and import fabric from other countries. She just ordered fabric from a merchant in the United States for 7,000. So that means the cost of buying this item is what? 7,000. So the first thing, cost. So cost. So number one, cost is equals to number one, cost is equal to 7,000. Is equal to $7,000. So then we are told in the question that the exchange rate is 387. 387 to $1. So we are going to what? Use the exchange rate. So multiply by 7,000, multiply, I'm coming now. I think I want to, I think, yeah, okay, yes. So number one, so that will be $7,000 multiplied by
You are not
3,
seeing your
right,
space, sir.
okay, 2,000, I will multiply by 385. So that will give us, yeah. So 7,000 multiplied by 385. That should give us how much? Somebody should help us to calculate 7,000 multiplied by 385 in Naira. How much do we have? 7,000 times 385. I need somebody to help me calculate it because I don't have my calculator. 7,000 times 385. So that is 2,095,000. So after that, the next thing from our after determination of cost, the next thing from our then is what? Determination of free on board. Determination of free on board. I told you that free on board is addition of cost plus any other incidental cost incurred to get the item available for shipment. So it is possible where there is no additional cost, your free on board will also be the same thing as the cost. But in this scenario, we also have additional cost that is incurred based on what? Based on the information given to us from the question. Then we are told that she had to pay other additional charges at the rate of 7,700 to have the access to the fabric. So that amount she paid plus what? Including the cost is what is called what? Free on board, FOB. So that is what? Free on board. So our free on board will be what? 7,000 cost plus 700. So free on board will now be free on board will be 7,000. Determination of FOB, which will be cost to $7,000
It's $700.
plus no plus
It's 700.
7,000. Free on board is addition of cost plus additional cost incur. So the addition of the two will give you free on board, which is what? 7,700. So free on board will be 7,700. Then multiply by the Naira. So because this thing will be paid in Naira, so multiply by what? 85. So that will give us, so the Naira, so 7,700 multiplied by 385. 294, 2,964,500. After that, so the next thing is what? Determination of what? Of freight or insurance cost. Either one can be determined. Determination of what? Insurance cost. So determination of insurance or freight cost. So we have one determination of what? Freight cost. Then after that, we have a determination of insurance. So freight cost, that is the cost of transporting the item from the port where it is acquired from to where? To our port here in Nigeria. So the cost you are going to pay, whether you are transporting it through ship or through the air, so the amount you are going to pay is what is called what? Freight cost. So we are told in this question that the cost of freight is $1,500. So this one now, they have already given us that cost. So you just list it out. So freight cost, freight cost. So which is 1,500. Then multiply by the Naira equivalent 3.5. So will give us the cost of freight. So, or you can as well, instead of doing all this, so instead of calculating it, you can as well leave it as it is as $1,500. So when you now get to your landing cost, you now convert everything. Then the next one, we have a determination of insurance costs. So insurance costs. Cost you are going to pay to what? So based on what? Based on marine certificate. When you are importing an item, it is expected that that item must be what? Insured. So you are going to pay premium to where? To an insurance company. So the premium you pay to an insurance company, the premium you pay to an insurance, the premium you pay to an insurance company is what is called what? The insurance cost. So in this question, we are told that Sterling Insurance. So note that insurance is provided by Sterling Insurance at the rate of what? 0.5%. So insurance cost is usually based on both. Insurance is usually a percentage of both cost and freight cost. So according to our requirement, insurance will be what? A percentage of both cost and freight cost multiplied by the premium. So we are told in the question that what the premium rate is 0.5%. So the premium will not be 0.5% of the addition of both cost plus freight cost. And we know that so the addition of both cost and what? And freight cost will give us what? Insurance cost. So that is what? The cost is $7,000, 7,000 plus freight, which is 1,500. So the addition of this will give us 8,500 multiplied by the naira. So multiply by what? The premium rate, which is what? 0.5%. So we give us what? The insurance cost. So it's 0.5%. That is what? It's 0.5 divided by 100. So 0.5 divided by 100 times, so 7,000 plus 1,500, that is what? Multiply by 8,500. So multiply by 8,500. So that will give us for $42.5. $42.5. So after that, the next thing is now to what? Determine what the landing cost. Determination of landing cost. And landing cost, that's the addition of what? Our cost plus freight plus what? Insurance. So which is what? Addition of what? FOB plus what? Freight cost plus
working note.
insurance. Yeah?
We are not seeing your working note. What is on the
The
screen is the
working notes.
question.
Okay. Sorry. So the landing cost will now be the addition of what? Both the cost, the FOB, the insurance, and what? And the freight cost. That's the landing cost. Landing cost is how much will it cost you in total to get that item into Nigeria? So that's what they mean by landing cost, which is what? Addition of FOB plus addition of FOB plus freight cost plus insurance cost will give us what? So the landing cost, which is what? 7,000, 7,700, sorry, plus our freight cost, 1,500.
Yes, sir. We can't see the work note.
Plus, I just share it now. Okay, sorry. I thought so that will be 7,700. Landing cost will be addition of FOB for freight cost plus insurance, 7,700 plus 1,500 plus insurance plus 42.5. So the total will give us, so the landing cost. So which will be 7,700 plus 1,500 plus 42.5. So which is what? 9. So that is 9,242.5. Then multiply by, so you now multiply by what? The naira equivalent. Multiply by what? 385. Multiply by 385 times 3 times 385. So that will give us what? The naira equivalent. So which is what? So 9242.5 times 385. So that will give us 3 million. 3 million 558 362.5. So which is what the landing cost. So after the landing cost, so the next thing is to what? Determination of what? Import duty. Import duty. And the import duty will be determined based on what? Based on the HS code, the harmonized system code attached to what? To the product being imported. So let me go back to the question. So from the question, we are going to be giving the import. So we are told that the HS code for fabric is 507. So import duty is calculated at the rate of what? 10%. So that will be what? 10% of the landing cost. So import duty is what? Percentage of the landing cost, which is what? 10%. 10%. So let me then, which is 10% of the landing cost. So we already know the landing cost in Naira. So that will be 10% multiplied by 3 million, 3,558,362.5. So that will give us what? The landing cost in Naira. So which is what? 3,558. So which will be 3,558,366.25. So which is what? Which is the landing cost. So which is the import duty. After the import duty, the next thing is what? Determination of surcharge. Surcharge. So and I told you from our surcharge, that is what? That is additional fee paid for what? For the purpose of what? Additional duty paid for importation, which is meant for what? Port development and what? For port development, to develop the port, and which is charged at the rate of 7% of import duty. So surcharge is charged at the rate of 7% of import duty. So surcharge, that will be 7% multiplied by, we know the value of our import duty already, which is what? Multiplied by 355, 836.25. So we give us what? The surcharge. So multiply by 7% and 0.7. So that will give us what? 24,908.53. So after that, after the surcharge, the next is what? Determination of comprehensive import supervision scheme, which is at 1% of FOB. Determination of comprehensive import supervision scheme, which is at the rate of 1% of multiplied by FOB. So 1% of FOB. So let me go back to my question area so that we'll be sure. The determination of CISL, Comprehensive Import Supervision Scheme, 1% of FOB. So 1% of FOB will give us what? The comprehensive import super. So which is a levy that is meant for what? The supervision process during clearance and what? During what? During offloading of what? Of the products of the imported item from the wherever you are importing it from. So which is what? 1%. 1% multiplied by what is our FOB? FOB is what? 2,964,500 multiplied by 2,964,500. So that will give us the what? The comprehensive import supervision scheme. So 2,964,500 times 5. So that will give us 29, 645. So after that, so we have a determination of what? Of ECOWAS Trade Liberation Scheme, ETLS. So when you are importing, which I told you, when you are importing item from non-ECOWAS country. So if you are importing an item from a country that is not an ECOWAS country from Europe or from outside so you also pay what? This ETLA, which is meant for what? For ECOWAS Commission, which is money that's usually meant for the ECOWAS development, that is the ECOWAS office development and what? And for community development. So which is usually at the rate of what? 0.5% of landing costs. So it's usually at the rate of 0.5% of multiplied by landing cost. So which is what? 0.5, 0.5% multiplied by. So what is our landing cost? We know it already here. As well, 3558 multiplied by 3558 362.5. So we give us what? We should give us the value for what? For the ETLA 3558 362.5 divided by 100 times 3558 362.5. So that will give us what? 17,791.81. So the next one is what? Determination of what? So determination of, so number 10, determination of VAT. So we know that the VAT rate is what? 7.5%. So we know our VAT rate to be 7.5%. So we just apply the 7.5% on all the item where value is being added. To be 7.5% of landing costs, of import duty, of surcharge, of CISS and what? ETLS, 7.5% of all those items. We give us what? We give us the value added tax. So that would be 7.5% multiplied by landing costs plus import duty plus surcharge plus CISS plus ETLS. So we give us what? The value added tax. So that will be 7.5 divided by 100 times multiply by all the addition of all this. So all this will now be landing cost is 3558 3558 836 3558 836.5 plus duties 355 point
import duty.
25. What happened? Plus, which is 4. Somebody was saying something. What happened? 908.
That landing
Point,
cost is
yeah,
355.8362.
okay, 8362.
Yeah.
362.5. Okay, thank you. 0.5. Plus IS 2945 plus ETLS 17 plus 7 791.81. So when we add all this together, so we now get to 7.5% of all those items. So that will be, so addition of all that, 3558 362.5 plus 355 836.5 0.25 plus 24,908.53 plus 29,645 plus 70,791.81. So that will give us 39. So multiply by 0.75. So now, so the addition of everything gave us, so that will be 7.5% times 3986,542.09. 3986,542.09 times 0.075. So that will give us 298, which will be equal to 298,990.66. So after that, we can now get our what? Our calculate our what? The what? The custom duty requested. So the custom duty will now be the addition of all the duty payable, which are what? Addition of import duty plus surcharge plus C, plus CSS plus E plus VAT will now give us the custom duty. So that will be addition of import duty is 355.25 plus surcharge 24,908.53 plus 29,45 plus 17,791.81 plus VAT 2,990.66. So the addition of all these will now give us for custom. So the custom duty will now be equal to this. So which will be what? So which is the duty that is payable on this item 35836.25 plus 24,908.53 plus 29,645 plus 17,791.81 plus 298,990.66. So the addition of this will now give us the cost of 727,172.25. So this is what this person, Mrs. Shekonieze, is going to pay towards the Nigeria Custom Service. So that's why you see that when item is being imported, those items are usually what? Very, very expensive. It is because what? Because of all this what? Levy that are going to be paid. And when the importer paid this levy, the importer is not going to bear the body. It's going to shift what? The burden to what? To the final consumer, which will make what the product to what? To end up to be what? To be on the high side. So that is how to what? To calculate what? To calculate the custom duty. So depending on what you are asked by the examiner, we give you a guide on what? On how to what? How to compute what? Compute the what? The duty payable to what? To the Nigeria Custom Service. So let us take note of that. So that is how to compute what? The duty payable to what? To the Nigeria Custom Service. So which is what? Which is the way duty is being computed. So any question? Any question? So I'm going to send the material, that solution to us, so that we can also use it as our what? Our reference for reference purpose during the process of our revision, or during the process of our knowledge of getting how to calculate. So depending on what the examiner asks you, so the examiner can either ask you either import duty or custom duty. Where the examiner asks for import duty, you have to stop at what? That was step number 6. But where he asks you for what? Custom duty, you have to finish what? All the steps up to what? Up to step 11. So that is how to calculate what? The custom duty. Then the last thing that we are also going to talk about is what? Ethical issue in tax administration. So what are those ethical issues in tax ethics? So when they say ethics, so the good behavior that an accountant, how an accountant is expected to behave. What are those guiding rules that are supposed to guide what? The behavior of an accountant during the process of carrying out a professional service or professional work. So basically, there are 5 fundamental principles of ethics that an accountant is expected to abide to, according to the code of ethics. And these fundamental principles are the principle guiding the activity and the operation of an accountant in relation to our performance with tax authority and our performance with clients. So these 5 fundamental principles are what? Integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. Integrity. So integrity means that as an accountant, as a professional that is acting for a client, you must what? You must be truthful with your client. You must deal with your client in what? With truthfulness and what? And integrity. So you must not be what? So there should be what? Imply for what? Fair dealing and what? Truthfulness. So you must be fair with your client and deal with them truthfully. So you must not hide anything from them. So as what? As a professional. So you must apply what? The principle of what? Integrity when you are dealing with your clients. So that integrity principle means that a professional accountant shall not be associated with report, return, communication, or other information where the accountant believe that the information contain materially false or misleading statement. So any information you want to give must be what? Must be truthful, and what? Must not be what? Information that is what? Bias, or that is what? That is not true as an accountant. Then also, another fundamental principle that you are expected to abide to is what? Objectivity. Objectivity. So a professional accountant shall comply with principle of objectivity, an accountant not to compromise professional or business judgments. So objectivity. So any work that you know that is going to affect your what? Your judgment is going to be what? You are going to be biased. You know that, okay, you have a relationship. When you know that you have a relationship with what? With that particular client and that relationship may end up affecting your what? Your decision. You may be biased in whatever decision you are going to give. So where that occur, you are not expected to accept such work. So you should not be. So what objectivity is saying is that what you should what by the time you are engaging in any professional activity or professional work, you should not engage in any professional work or professional activity that is going to affect your decision. That is where you are going to be biased. So such activity should not be accepted. Then we also have professional competence and due care. So you should what? You should ensure that when you are getting work from a client, you should ensure that you have the knowledge and skill. You have the professional knowledge and skill to provide that services. So what the code of conduct is saying is that when you are accepting a job where you don't have that professional knowledge and skill. You should try to look for somebody that is what? That is best suited or that is best or fit to carry out what? To carry out that particular activity or that particular job. So in short, is that what? So any job you want to acquire must be what? A job where you have what? The knowledge and skill in that particular area. So when you accept any job where you don't have skill or you don't have experience or knowledge in that area, you should look for what? You should look for those that are expert in those areas to also assist you in what? In carrying out what? In carrying out the assignments. Then we have what? Confidentiality. So principle of confidentiality implies that as a professional accountant, as an accountant, you are going to be giving information relating to your client. Your client is going to give you a lot of their information so those information you are not expected to what? To leak those information to what? To a third party. So you should be what? You should do what is called what? What is called, you should be secretive in line with what? With any information you acquire as a result of what? As a result of your professional activity with your client. You should not disclose the information of your client to a third party. You can only disclose information of your client to a third party unless where it is what? It is required or it is what? It is requested by what? By appropriate what? Court or by what? By appropriate what? Appropriate legal means. So you need to what? So that is only when you can disclose what? Information about your client. So, but where it is not what? Where it is not for what? For criminal matter, or it is not what? It is not required by what? By appropriate authority, or it is not required by what? By a court. You are not expected to what? To disclose information of your client to what? To any third party. Then we also have a professional behavior. Professional behavior. So as a professional accountant, you are also expected to what? To comply with relevant law and or regulation and avoid any conduct that the accountant know or should know might discredit the profession. So as a professional accountant, you are expected to what? To follow the rules and regulations guiding the principle of what? Of accounting when you are dealing with your client. You should what? You should deal professionally with your client. That is what you should comply with what? Relevant law. There are laws guiding what? Guiding preparation of accounts. There are laws guiding what? Guiding filing of returns. So when you want to also provide services to your client, you should also provide those services in line with what? With the requirement of the law. So you may be asked. So you may be asked for what? For those who are five fundamental principles of what? Of ethics. So those are the 5 fundamental principles. I also mentioned earlier that so you are not supposed to disclose information about your client to third party under confidentiality. There are conditions that can make you condition for disclosure of information. So the reason why you may disclose information, it may be what? Disclosure is permitted by law, where a law, a court, or where it is what? It is the law that said you should disclose that information according to the agreement between you and the task and the client. It is required that such information must be disclosed. Then also disclosure is authorized by the client, where your client has also given you the information. Okay, yes, you can what? Tell the third party about those information. You can also disclose. Where the disclosure is what? Disclosure is required by law, for example, production of document or other provision of evidence dealing with legal proceeding. Where it is required by a law court, as I said earlier, you are also expected to disclose. Then, there is a professional duty or right to disclose when you are expected to disclose, to respond to an inquiry or investigation by a member or regulatory body. So when it is required by what? By a recognized professional body, you also expected to disclose. To protect the professional interests of a professional body, that is ICAN, you also expected to comply with technical standard and ethics requirements. So all those all those way are when what you are expected to what to disclose what information about your what about your clients. So where apart from this, information about the client is not expected to be what to be disclosed to what to any third party. So then also the tax authority, they are also expected to what to follow certain code of conduct. So the first one we mentioned are the code of conduct that are expected to be followed by what professional accountant. Tax authority, they must also what follow certain code of conduct, which are what they must be disciplined. So tax authority, when a taxpayer visits your office, you must be disciplined. You must be what disciplined. They must also be loyal. There should be what loyalty. So you must be loyal to your employer and also to what to and do your duty diligently. You must be honesty. There should be honesty in whatever you are doing as a what as a tax official. Then there should be courage, then courtesy and what and tact. So all these are what are the code of conduct that are expected to be followed by what by what tax authority official. Then what are now the work, the professional issues or the professional services that are expected to be carried out by what chartered accountants, firm of what firm of accounting firm. What are those services that are required to be carried out by them? As a firm of chartered accountant, you can work carry out a filing of tax return. Filing of tax return by filing return to both what the Federal Inland Revenue and the State Internal Revenue Service. So the firm of a professional body carry out such activity. They also do what tax planning and management to ensure that what they were losing the loopholes, looking at the loopholes in the tax law to reduce the amount of tax payable by their client. Ensuring compliance with tax law, they ensure that they comply. There are certain days that what taxes are supposed to be paid. They ensure that they comply with those dates. Then tax dispute resolution. When there is a dispute between the tax authority and the taxpayer, between the liability raised by the tax authority, the tax consultant will come in to help in resolving the dispute. Registration of company with both federal and state. So they also carry out registration, computation of taxes according to relevant, computation of personal income tax liability, tax advisory service, obtaining tax clearance. They also help their client to obtain tax clearance afterward, payment of necessary taxes, attending to tax queries, obtaining acceptance certificate in respect of capital allowance, internal audit, risk and compliance, so forensic audit. All these are services that can be carried out by firm of chartered accountant, professional, so accountant firm or chartered accountant firm by a professional. So you may be asked by the examiner to mention certain services that are performed by accountants, by firm of chartered accountant or professional accountant. We have cyber investigation, asset verification, management consultant, receivership and bankruptcy, registration of business, and the provision of company secretarial service, statutory audits and assurance, consultancy services, merger and acquisition, corporate financing, IT consulting, business advisory, audit advisory services, as well as a lot of activity are performed by firm of chartered accountants. So you may be asked. So there has been some diets where questions are being tested on this area. So they will just ask you to mention services that are provided by firm of chartered accountant to clients. So we have a lot of services that are being provided by firm of chartered accountant to clients. So that is those are the services provided by accountant to their clients. So any question? Any question? So I'm going to send this material to us in order for us to also look at it and also read through the material as well. So with this now, we have successfully completed our area. So the area that I'm supposed to take you under taxation. So we have ended the class. So we are going to be ending the class today. So there won't be any class from subsequent week. So I expect us to try and go over what we have done from the beginning to the end. So for the Saturday classes, so, and if you have any issue with any of the topic or any area, so you can contact me through WhatsApp. So any question? So
May I have this thing? Thank you very much for all the efforts.
Okay.
We'll be asking questions when we solve or have issues personally, but I think maybe you will still help us with a revision class maybe before the exam. At least where we
Okay.
can just meet and then do questions, maybe one or two.
Okay. One thing there is that before we can even do revision, it's not about doing. You guys also need to also go over what we have done, so that by the time we are doing the revision, it will assist you to know. Yeah, it will be easier, so that it will just be those areas that we are okay. This is okay. I have forgotten this area, but if we do it now, it will still be okay if you have not gone through the aspects. So that is how it is being done, which is a good. So what we are going to do is, can we schedule the revision to like maybe 2 weeks to exam? I believe by then we'll have.
Yes,
Yeah,
2 weeks or a week is fine. Yes,
Fine,
that's
sir.
good.
is
That's
2
good.
weeks okay with us?
Yes, sir.
When is our
Yeah.
exam? When is our exam?
On the 18th.
What date is
November
our
8th.
exam?
November
18.
18th.
It's starting
Yes.
from November 18, Abi. Okay. So can we do I'm looking at, can we do the revision on November 8th? So I'm
Yeah,
going to tell
that's
them to
fine.
schedule a date for.
November 8th is fine.
Is it okay with us?
Yes, sir.
I want us to talk. Oh, if it's not. So I believe by then, at least we'll have gone through. That is 2 weeks from now. So we'll have gone through one or two of the topics that. So that by the time we are doing I'm giving you the revision. You'll be able to grab it easily. Than if you have not read it. If I do revision for you, it will still be the same thing. So you first of all need to read it first before we do the revision. So November 8th is okay. Abi? Okay. All right. So I will take note of that. So any other question?
Yes, I also want to say that firstly, thank you so much for the class.
Okay.
We really appreciate the efforts. So I just want to say that the group, like if we are going through any of the what's it called? Any of the lectures and we
Material,
find anywhere
lectures.
difficult, can we drop question in the group? Maybe someone can
Yes,
just
yes.
answer.
Sure.
Okay. All right, sir.
Yeah, you can. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? So in the absence of no question, we are going to meet again on the 8th of November. See you then.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank